I'm Nolan Beilstein, and welcome to another episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing, a podcast where I interview young people about their journeys in manufacturing and how they tend to influence the industry and what they are looking for from an employer. For this episode, I welcome Jacob Sanchez, a 25-year-old employee for Industry Solutions and Community Development at IGUS Inc. Sanchez is an industry awareness and next-generation advocate for skilled trades and manufacturing. With 10-plus years of hands-on experience in manufacturing and automation sectors, he works to revolutionize how manufacturers showcase their companies to the world and how to generate employee autonomy. Sanchez also hosts How To, a metalworking series on YouTube. Sanchez aims to create a community of solution-driven professionals that want to utilize low-cost automation to stay competitive and move ever closer to Industry 4.0, and says his main focus is always on the inclusion of new talent, no matter their backgrounds. Before we hear from Sanchez, please make sure to like and share this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please get in touch with me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@in.com. Well, Jacob, thank you for joining Gen Z Manufacturing. I wanted to start off with just kind of getting you to explain how you're exposed to young people looking to join the manufacturing industry, aside from your own career.
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of community service out anywhere from like elementary schools all the way up to colleges. I spend some of my free time going into schools, talking to the kids. I bring in like my robot arm that I actually have one of these robot arms at home. I have a machinist briefcase because of my background in metalworking, and I'll literally just cold reach out to educators and try to find people that'll let me come and talk to the students. That's one way. And then I also judge first robotics competitions. And that's a worldwide organization that goes all the way down to kindergartners. So that exposes me to like tons of different types and ages and mindsets of young people as well.
So when we spoke earlier, you said that you disagreed with the take that people think Gen Z doesn't want to join the industry. So what do you see as you interact with Gen Z that shows they have interest in manufacturing?
Yeah, a part of that too is just how we have this perception in the industry that young people don't want to go into our industry at all, or they don't know about our industry. I mean, I go to these first robotics competitions, and these kids are running these teams like mini businesses. They have a salesperson, they have a marketing person, they have a build team, a programming team, all that types of stuff, and they love it. And I don't see those people and those kids, I don't see them ever not liking this industry. But when we're looking at the general population of every young person in the world, yeah, they don't all have an eye for what we're doing here. But it's almost like we kind of ignore the kids that do. They still need a good pathway to get into this industry. Just because they're aware of it now and having fun with it now, it doesn't mean that they're all good, that they're just going to come in here like that and do amazing things. They still need to be kept on a path. So there's two different ways I see it. We need to take care of the kids that are super excited and may not realize their potential for doing what they do for fun and doing it for like the love of their life. And also taking care of those kids that may have zero idea that anything like this exists in the world. We need to attack that. We need to help those groups in two different ways.
So that first group that already loves it, how are they getting ignored?
I feel like because you hear all of these businesses and stuff talk about how students and things don't want to get engaged, or they don't understand this industry, they don't know about this industry. And they think that's true because they're not going into these events or these centers that have this happy, excited group of students and helping guide them on a career path. A lot of these first robotics competitions, let's keep using that for an example, there's not as much industry touch points as there should be. You have tons of companies that donate money so they can have their logo up on a sign. But when it comes to those companies going to those events around the country, you barely see them. And the big thing with these events, I don't know if I said this, they're all volunteer based, 100%. And so you have the opportunity in anywhere around the country. If you work for Boeing, if you work for a food and beverage company, you can volunteer at these events and talk to these kids and get to help them on their journey. But I don't see a lot of it. I'm lucky enough that some of the judges that I've worked with have been in the industry, but a lot of them honestly have been retired for like 20 years, or you know what I mean? They've been in the industry for 60 years, but now they're just taking a step back. So there's not a lot of active leadership from industry attending these events.
Do they not think they need it, or do they not think there's time to assign someone to do something like this?
In businesses' defense, a lot of them may not even know that there's an event like this in their region. Beyond that, a lot of them may not see the benefit of just sending a person who's doing a job making the company money to go volunteer at this event for a day. And it's like days of work, depending on how long the competition is. And I'm talking about like 10 hours straight. To counter that, I have seen the value in it. I've seen how excited these kids get when I'm there to judge them because I go there as a judge, but I talk with them as a young person in the industry starting their career, continuing my career, and they think it's so cool. Like when I tell them little stories about my journey or things I'm doing for work, they like lose their minds. They're like, how do I do that? And then I tell them like, oh, well, we're in this area right now in Michigan. I know this company and this company. Reach out to this person. And they do it. They have little marketing plans, and they'll go to these businesses and they'll be proactive. The kids are the ones that are being proactive to search us out, which is awesome. But it needs to be a two-way street as well.
I've asked people on this series before if they think there's an exposure issue with manufacturing, but when we spoke earlier, you said it's not really bad exposure, but bad companies that are pushing kids away. What do you mean by that?
The company is not, a lot of the times, the ones that are kicking kids off this pathway. And what I mean by that is the kids come in, they get into a certain type of environment that may not be the healthiest or most supportive. And so my generation just leaves. They bounce out. They go do whatever else. Maybe they'll go to school for a few more years just because. Maybe they'll get a part-time job and hang out with friends and family. That's what I mean when it's not always just a exposure issue, but the companies that we have in our business, in our industry, we need to look at revamping ourselves with how we're bringing in new generations of talent. I'm asking for you to give this next generation, this younger generation, a common courtesy. I'm asking for you to give them some trust and some higher objectives rather than just sweeping the floors and washing the parts. I'm asking for you to trust in them that they may not be around at your business forever, but they're here right now and they're excited now. And if you can capitalize on that and encourage that, they will do good for your business. That's what I'm asking. And that's what I talk about when I say the word bad company sometimes, or kids getting kicked off the path.
So a popular way to reach high school and college students has historically been career fairs. Do you think this is still an effective method, or do you think it's kind of dated now?
So I think career fairs are still awesome. My team here at IGETS, they just went to, there was one at the University of Rhode Island. And I called my guys after. I was like, hey, how'd it go? Like, you okay? Well, just give me a debrief. And he was blown away. I want to say roughly there was like 600 to 1,000, and this is college, so a little older, students there that were like running around these different booths, like asking good questions, wanting information. They had the newer technologies. People had moving things there. The booths were very nice. Like, it was fun. I don't think I've really been to a old style career day fair before. You know what? One where it's just the tables and pamphlets. Those ones bug me. I do not think those ones are effective. But when you can have some type of technology or an interactive thing happening at it, yes, I think they're 100% awesome.
Do you think those companies that still participate in the old school ones are aware of just kind of the stigma around Gen Z's attention span? You talk about, whether it's true or not, they just have pamphlets there and there's nothing to really catch their eye. Are they just refusing to evolve? What's the issue there?
Again, I'm going to come to the defense of some of these companies that I do bring up when I'm talking about who needs to change and how we need to change. Sometimes those companies, they may not have the budget to change. They may not know how to change. They may be like, oh, Like, I want to reach this next generation of manufacturers. I want to get younger people into my business, but I've been around for 40 years and I just don't know how. I've had business owners admit that to me when I go in and talk with them. And so to that point, if you're at one of those older school ones and you don't see a lot of new change, new technology at the tables or at the event, be the one to try. Reach out to somebody that you met at a trade show if you're into networking, or if you're trying to get into networking, go on LinkedIn. Search up the words robotics, automation, STEM. Look up keywords until you start finding accounts that do cool things. Send the person a message. Ask them for their opinion. Ask them for their idea. Say, hey, I go to these career day fairs. Here's how they're like. I don't know how to change it, but I want to. What would you do? If they're like me, and when I get those messages from people, I respond. I tell them my idea, and I tell them how I would do it if I was them, and I let them take it and go run with it.
Oh, and you added another issue that people try to make manufacturing seem polished. You use the word polished.
Yeah.
What does that mean, and how is that damaging young people's interest?
I understand that we are trying to get away from the idea of dull, dirty, and dangerous. That's something that is said tons the past 2 to 3 years that I've been in the industry. I've said it before. I've stopped saying it because at the end of the day, this is a business. We all have businesses. We're making things. Things are going to be dirty. Things are going to get messy. Not everything that goes on in our manufacturing processes are 100% perfect. If it did, you wouldn't need solution finders. You wouldn't need automate. You wouldn't need us being the ones to help you figure out your automation solutions and things like that, because you'd have a hand. Everything would be perfect. No parts would ever be rejected. But whenever we try to talk about this industry, whenever we do videos of this industry, generally, a lot of it is, oh, hey, don't have that rag on the floor. Oh, hey, make sure to wipe down the machine. I understand wanting things clean, but not posting a video because one of your people left a rag on the floor next to the machine is not a reason to not post a video. I'm sorry. And I say that because these kids, these students, let's go back to First Robotics, they run these teams. These kids butt heads. I remember just hating on some of my friends when I was in high school and younger, like just hating to hate. They're growing up. They're becoming adults. Like, they're going through a bunch of changes. Headbutting happens. They know what it's like to have problems and struggles in their teams. That happens to them. So why are we trying to pretend that it doesn't happen to us just because we're industry? Because we're supposed to be the professionals? I guarantee you they will respect our messages a lot more and respect our businesses when they understand the challenges that come with it, because the challenges are what make it fun. If I'm not challenged, I get bored. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like being bored at work.
That's fair. I was intrigued by your exposure to manufacturing, and during our preliminary discussion, could you reiterate just how you were exposed to the industry?
Yeah. My mom worked 2 jobs. Biological dad didn't raise me. I had another dad that stepped in. My nana and papa raised me. They were janitors. My family was in school and healthcare, basically. So that was those career paths growing up. And I never knew this industry existed. And the only reason that I got thrown into it was because when I moved to the new fancy, because my area was a little under developed. When I went to the new fancy school, no friends, no family except my mom, I had to pick my electives, and I tried to pick cooking class because I wanted the easy A, as did every other freshman, because the class was full. And then they throw you into whatever's open, like the school does. And I got thrown into the engineering and machine shop program. And I hated it. I was furious. I was like, I'm a C student. I can barely draw straight lines. You have me drawing a top and front view of this part. Like, this is dumb. I'm not building a paper airplane. Like, all that stuff. And eventually, because I didn't like going home at the time, I stayed after, asked the teacher if I can clean his machines. He said yes, and he started teaching me outside of class. I started learning. I made my first ring on a manual lathe, and that took over the rest of my life. The rest of my high school career, I fell in love with CNC machining, manufacturing, and I spent every break, every day, every morning in that class. I went to award ceremonies for that program. I went to machinist meetups. I was helping other high school teachers at 16 how to teach their kids metalworking and CNC machining. That was my life. I loved it.
So you were kind of that second group we were talking about earlier, the ones that didn't really know about it. And then again, you sought it out. So what was it about your mentor that made you want to keep coming back?
Yeah, and my mentor specifically was Stuart McConaughey. He was the one of the lead foremen at Titans CNC Academy, who hired me later, and then that's where I got my metalworking career. He there was this level of autonomy where like I felt like I got to do whatever I wanted, but in a structured way. And that was very big for me because I didn't like being told what I could and couldn't do. And not in like probably in a hard-headed sense. I was 15. But he gave me that autonomy, and then he would also support my failures. So I would break an end mill, or he tried to give me this job that was a real job for money, like for one of his customers. And I tried to take it on. I was a 15-year-old kid. I didn't have good time management things. I couldn't do it. He took it over for me and finished it, but whenever I failed, he didn't make me feel like a failure. And I think that's a big thing in the learning process and making people feel okay with this industry, because you're going to fail a lot. You're going to break a lot of things. You're going to misprogram a lot of things, and being able to get through those without feeling like a failure is what's going to keep you going. So those were two of the big things that I think he did for me that really, really set it in for me.
And that mentor is what led to your first full-time job, correct?
Yeah. I got hired right out of high school. Once I was done with high school for that Titans of CNC Academy, and it was because he vouched for me. The boss, Titan, was on vacation when I got hired. So there wasn't like, and I knew him beforehand, but he didn't get to like talk with me and stuff more before they hired me. He came back from vacation, and there was this kid in his shop running machines. And that was a big thing. They had me going to run machines. I didn't join the shop and sweep floors. I joined the shop and ran machines. I joined the shop and like organized the tool crib and set up tools for other people's machines and things like that. And then that took off from there as well.
And you said you went straight from high school graduation to full-time worker?
Yes. Yeah.
So do you think high school students are well informed about what they need post-graduation to get into the industry?
What they need and what they can get, I think, are two different things. What everybody can get is a certificate. What everybody can get is like a 4-year degree. What you need is industry experience. What you need is maybe to make connections and try to network. I know it's scary, and I'm saying all this like it's easy now. We all do that when we're here, when we used to be here. It's not easy being a 16-year-old, 17-year-old and trying to go out and talk to these big adults, these big companies, when you feel like a nobody. And I was a nobody. I still think I'm a nobody. I know a lot of companies that have hired students and younger, even older people that didn't have the experience, but they had the knowledge. They had an understanding of what a CNC mill was, of what a CNC lathe was, of what tooling was. And this business knew that this person was teachable because of that. If you don't have that, but you have a piece of paper, that still doesn't make you better off.
So how can a young person without the college degree or professional experience, how can they find their way into the industry anyway?
I totally recommend, like, no matter where you are in the country or in the world, type in things like, depending on what industry you want to go into, or if you're trying to find out about industries, type in manufacturing trade shows near me, robotics events near me. Sometimes they're during the week. Some of them are closer to the weekend. Find time in your schedule to take one of those days off and go to the show. We have people come to our booth at IGES and RBTX when we're at events all the time because we're the funnest booth. People come in there and just play with our things and then say thank you and leave. Like, that's the experience that everybody should be giving to everyone at a trade show.
So I've seen the IGES booth in person, but Just kind of describe what you're talking about. What makes the booth so exciting?
It's literally, especially with our enjoy-nearing theme, this enjoy-nearing idea of getting to play as an engineer and getting to play with products. We're a plastics component manufacturer, so we make things that people barely ever see. But we make it fun to play with. We make little giveaways where our products are actually being used in a real way, and people can go check it out. Another one is we have some demos where we're challenging you to break our stuff so people can have fun actually trying to break plastic so they understand it's not just a water bottle. It's the way we present ourselves, and it's our people. Our people will come to you just to have a conversation. Like, our sales guys aren't just there to sell something to everyone. They're there to give everyone an experience, and that's what they do. I may have made a lot of this sound super easy today. I may have made a lot of this sound like you feel like you're not doing enough. Just know, if you are going about your life and you're just trying to do something every day, that is enough. You don't have to be making moves every day to be making a difference and making a change in your life. The fact that you're just thinking and you're actually trying, that is enough. So just remember, sometimes enough is enough.
Thank you for watching this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. Please make sure to like and share the episode. To view previous episodes, visit manufacturing.net. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please contact Nolan Beilstein at nolan@in.com.